Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. What's up, everybody? I am super excited. So today's our hell or high water. Today is our final Fire Emblem 3 Houses plus Amiibo plus many other things from Fire Emblem all in one listening stream. We've had two others before. If you haven't checked those out, definitely check those out. Thanks for being here. We have a lot to get through, so we're going to kind of just dive right in. I'm really eager to hear the rest, and honestly, I'm really excited to get to the Amiibo stuff. There's a lot of the Fire Emblem Awakening tracks that I've really come to adore. Hi Marco, the surprise I was talking about in Discord, can you go down to the bottom left in the full OST spreadsheet and click on sheet 2 and read it to the chat? Sure. Oh, other ideas you have. Okay, surprise everyone, future playlist coming soon. Description to be announced either this year or next year. Potential full OST picks are Fire Emblem, not sure which one. Octopath Traveler 1 or 2, The Legend of Zelda, not sure which one, Pokemon, not sure which one, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Genshin Impact, a select full OST album. Well, I think everybody is very excited about that. I certainly am as well. Great. All those are awesome and would be very fun. That's exciting. Cool. All right, let's get into it. Okay. Oh, show it. Oh, yeah, sorry. I didn't realize I was doing that. There it is. Fire Emblem, Octopath, Legend of Zelda, Pokemon, Kirby, Genshin Impact. As always, thank you, Hydro, for helping and choosing those things. Sarcasm? No, there's no sarcasm. All right, so next up is the choir practice theme. Hope as a melody. Motif heavily carried by the vocals. Let's check it out. Yeah, I mean, I think that really works for like obviously it sounds like a it sounds like a choir piece. Yeah, it's nice. It's interesting how much this motif comes up, by the way. It's almost incessant, isn't it? Battle on the waterfront fishing theme. What? Okay. Am I using the one Kramid is on? I don't know that Kramid's here. But yes, this is the one that was on the playlist. As far as I know. Oh, you think this is the original one? What? Hello. What's up, Pedro? Wait then. Wait a second. I'm confused because it's the shared one. But I thought, oh, then no. One sec. This one was the one in the sheet. That's why I got confused. Okay, it's fine. Oh, I see. My bad. Oh, I see. Okay. Cool. All right. Sorry. Let me grab this. Okay. Have I listened to Indomitable Will? I've listened to so much, I honestly don't know. Pedrux says hardly. Indomitable Will. Yes, we did. Indomitable Will. Both Rain and Thunder. Okay. White Heron Waltz. Very short piece, but gives such joy at the same time. Yeah, it definitely is very short, but it does have a nice energy to it, doesn't it? It's very, very, I mean, bouncy. The typical like waltz theme is very, you know, just pleasant. Hey, Earl Grey, I appreciate you being my 7th user, my 7th viewer on Twitch. Oh, that's cute. The land beloved by the goddess. Moon introduction theme before the time skip sounds like a story is about to be told through music. Thanks, Fisher. Man, I actually, in some ways, that could definitely be one of my favorite pieces because of the way that it has this forward momentum that's really, really, like, it's just constant. And, you know, sometimes repetitive pieces can be really unpleasant or unfun or something. But what I like about this is that the forward momentum gives us a sense of forward drive. I also think that having it's interesting because even though it has a forward momentum with the rhythm and the sort of repetitive nature of it, it's actually pretty spread out. It's pretty like flowing at the same time. Like there's a quality in that piece of music where I think because of the way that the horns kind of come in and they swell and push through, that delivers a feeling of like sort of suspension, even though the clanging and the anvil like quality of it pushes us forward. There's still a sense of stillness, even though we're reflecting on I don't know, some sort of an awakening or like a job to be done or what have you. In some ways, I'm actually bummed out that piece isn't more elaborated on because, I mean, realistically, it doesn't change too much in a minute and 40 seconds. And and it's actually one of the pieces I've enjoyed the most of the soundtrack. I really liked that one. Yeah. Also, Hydra, I may not stop during. Just FYI, like if I don't want to just like stop just for the sake of stopping, like I know that they're highlighted green, but if something pops to my mind, I'll stop. But in general, I might, especially since these are shorter, I may also just stop and pull out. But don't worry, I'll always have with the green ones, I'll always have at least something to say rather than just sort of glossing over it. The context for the land beloved by the goddess.
Part 1. White Clouds. Great Tree Moon. 3 houses. The icy winds of the Agma Mountains have begun to scatter, and the verdant fields once again spring to life across Fodlan, heralding the start of a new year. As they celebrate the dawning year, the people pray that they may realize their full potential, just as a tiny sprout hopes to one day grow into a great tree. The continent of Fodlan, said to be protected by a revered goddess, has existed since time immemorial. 3 ruling powers now control the land. In the south lies a region long held by a more than 1,000-year-old dynasty, the Adrestian Empire. Beyond its borders, to the frigid north, is the home of the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, ruled by the royal family and its knights. To the east, a league of nobles that heeds no king nor emperor rules what is called the Leicester Alliance. Once consumed by a tempest of war and turmoil, Fodlan and these 3 mighty powers now exist in relative harmony.
Yeah, I think in that case, the trumpet really is the sort of like talking about the military, talking about the knights and so on and so forth. The trumpet really leans into that idea of like a conversation about aristocracy and bureaucracy and the powers that be, which is kind of interesting, actually, isn't it? Well, that's cool. I really like that piece. I forgot that was the sort of like I think it really fits. There's actually a bit of optimism in that when you listen to the way that it connects with the dialogue and stuff too. Okay, 3 crowns. Moon introduction theme after the time skip. Sounds like you have gained more experience and are ready to face your foe again. All right, let's listen. Yeah. Well, hold on. There's such a it's interesting. There's a real there's a real bleak quality in that piece, which I find kind of interesting because yeah, I do think that there is a sort of preparatory sound, but more than anything, what's really interesting to me is the fact that because of the way the percussion is and because of the way we have the string movement there, it's not dissimilar to the previous track that we were just talking about, kind of, but the stakes are really high, and there's a sense throughout all of this of sadness, isn't there? There's a sense in that of like having run out of options and trying to navigate through like essentially like fields of the dead, if that makes sense. Like I think like let me just listen back really quick. Yeah. Like even there, like it doesn't matter how sad you are. At the end of the day, things have to be done, and we have to move forward, and we have to accomplish things, and we need to try to fight this fight. But there's an inherent sense of feeling like you're on the ground, and there's no corner to move. There's no like where to run. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that's wanted. It's actually something that's quite somber and tragic almost. And the quality in that is a feeling of bleakness to me, even though there's military might there. You know what I mean? Like despite the fact that we are totally broken, our military prowess and our sort of responsibility, it has to be upheld despite, not wanting to, if that makes sense. It's a powerful piece though. Some of these shorter ones I wish they were a little longer, but yeah, that's pretty. It's very pretty. All right, wait. So next up is Still Horizon, the war conclusion theme. Sounds like a long-ended adventure has come. A long-ended adventure has come to an end. Still Horizon. All right, let's check it out. Yeah, I really love the stillness of that. Well, it's called Still Horizon, but I agree that the chords are really nice. And it does kind of have that like monastery bell tone kind of, you know what I mean? It's really beautiful. It's really pretty. But again, these tracks have been all like sort of had an edge of sadness, haven't they? And that one's another example. Ultra Kill dropped a new music, really? Which one is it? All right. A Guide for the Future plays in base of operations when choosing to decide what to do on Sunday. Piano motif followed by flute. Oh yeah, that's cute. That's very pleasant, isn't it? Da, da, da. Yeah, I mean, obviously it has such a beautiful quality, a peaceful quality. The whole, like, the feeling of it is just like beauty, you know what I mean, and lightness and joy. It's really nice. I will say, having listened to how many tracks, like 80 something, I will say one of my biggest complaints about this soundtrack, I know we're also listening to it, so bear with me, but I think one of my biggest complaints is just the fact that motif appears incessantly. It's a nice motif, but there is something to be said for it appearing too much, if that makes sense. Like, it's still beautiful, and the Edge of Dawn, I love the Edge of Dawn motif, but I feel like it becomes a little bit, you almost become a little numb to it. Now, obviously, we're listening to it in a vacuum, so it's like not really like a fair statement, but it's a fair statement for this particular instance, where I wish that there was a little bit more variety, because there are so many like individual moments in this soundtrack that sound so good. But that was just a thought that crossed my mind as I was listening to that. But it's just really, I mean, that particular piece, all of these last few have been really peaceful. Okay, Life at Garagmach Monastery. Exploration theme before the skip, so this should be beautiful again, something pleasant. Yeah, using clarinet. Yeah, it's not dissimilar to the A Guide for the Future track. And again, part of that is because you know, there's again, I think the clarinet does a great job, but it's a kind of a workhorse instrument. There's a quality in it of bouncing playfulness, of sort of like, you know, I'm thinking the sun, it's less bright than the flute, obviously, like the between the flute and the clarinet has a warmer tone than the flute. But I will say that in general, what's really pretty about this is that it has this kind of natural bouncing lilt to it that I think is really nice. And then it's taken over by the strings. Da, 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 ya, da. A really random, I mean, like, it's kind of interesting. I wonder what the EDM sort of beat drop in the background is. This is definitely one of those soundtracks that occasionally, I mean, we heard it in the like Mole People tracks, where the EDM kind of comes in out of seemingly nowhere. It's interesting how the soundtrack can get a little bit experimental on us. Not experimental really, but like just a little bit deviate from the norm. And I think creating it on a digital audio workstation is like the benefits of that, where we can kind of explore what some sound qualities and stuff mix and match. You just came back from your surgery. Oh my God, I hope your surgery went well. I feel honored that the first thing you're seeing post surgery is Fire Emblem Three Houses and my YouTube channel. Oh, interesting switch. Hey Dave, what's up, man? Yeah, a bunch of like really nice twists and turns there too, but it never loses sight of its very relaxed nature, does it? I think also another really interesting thing about this piece is that there's a quality in it of travel, of movement. It's not very idle, is it? It's constantly shifting, it's constantly moving, and I think that also invites like a sense of like discovery and possibility, kind of like what the, you know, experiencing something for the first time, taking up a new position. There's a quality in it of you know, of peacefulness. You know what I mean? I don't know. Even though it continues to move. I really like that. Oh my goodness, Kyron. Well, I'm glad that things are okay. Sorry about some of your private parts. I mean, that's not funny, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm sorry. That's whatever it takes, right? It's important. I totally am happy that you're at least that it was at an early stage, so things should be okay. I know it's very scary. It takes a lot of courage to be like, well, looks like we have to do this. You know what I mean? No Death Knight to be heard or seen, correct? Yes, it's always very relaxing, isn't it? How long do I expect to be lost in the new Monster Hunter? Well, with the reviews and stuff and the what I'm gathering about the gameplay and the end game, I'll be playing for a full week next week with some like life obligations, but then otherwise it's going to be at least 2 weeks. We've prepared content. I'm trying to film a lot of stuff this week because I think the next 2 weeks are going to be hardcore. Yeah. Hey, whatever it takes. Hopefully the dizziness settles. Although I would add one more thing to this piece, which I find actually really nice, is that it could have just been a loop. But instead, I mean, it might loop here in a second, but I think more than anything, what's been really cool is the transference of the same theme, the transference of the theme to many different corners, which is actually really nice because what you end up getting is a sound quality there of change, a variable of different people. Isn't that interesting? I think like even though we're reusing the motif, what we're ending up getting is we're actually introducing ourselves and experiencing other characters around us. And so all these different motifs could also represent different people, which is kind of fun. I think it could be Game of the Year, by the way, based on how it's very new player friendly. It seems like based on what I've read and watched from Fighting Cowboy, Rurikon, I didn't watch Gaijins yet, but it seems like based on some of the reviews I watched, like there's almost it's almost some folks have actually said it's bordering on too easy. I don't necessarily believe that, just because a lot of these folks tend to be vets, and so but also like low high rank is never really problematic when it comes to base game. But it seems like the end game is really fun anyway. But that's a separate discussion. I'm obsessed. Oh, that's pretty. I've heard quite a bit of Arno Surge, actually. And there's the loop. Oh, wait, no, it's... Wait, maybe. Actually, I don't think that's a loop. No, it's not. Hey, hindsight. Okay, so actually right at the end was the loop. And I thought that was a really beautiful piece, huh? Really pretty. Really pretty. All right, Broken Routine, Garrick Mock Exploration theme in Chapter 10 and 11. One of your dear friends has passed away. Oh, that's tragic. I mean, I think it's very pretty. Interestingly, I actually don't find that the motif really works in this moment. Like, I wish that they had actually not put that in there, because I think the piano does such a great job of causing the feeling of sadness that it actually sounds like the teardrops if you really hear it. Like there's the bum 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 bum. That musical phrasing is really interesting because it ends up feeling like tears. It's a descending pattern down, and that leaves us with that like quality of sadness. Whereas obviously if it was pitched up, and if it was going up in the reverse order, if it was going from bottom to top, then, or from low to high, that would be a different emotional response. So I do feel what's really interesting though about including the motif is that it's like squarely rooted in the monastery, right? And the monastery is that hub for these kids, these young adults. And it's supposed to be a place of peace. And yet when we hear it in this context, we hear that natural sadness that kind of takes over, you know what I mean? It disrupts it. The piano disrupts that motif. Yeah, I would agree. I think you're right. Broken routine. Yeah. Whereas normally you'd get the motif, but then with the piano, it interjects and causes that feeling of loss. And I also think that the way that where it sits in the piano register, I really feel like that sound is they could have done it lower, but it would have lost a little bit of the like innocence in it. So something that's really interesting is that anytime you hear like a piano piece in the upper register, that usually is going to provide, usually it's for young adults, but or innocence or naivete. So like, despite the fact that these characters are, you know, battle hardened and ready to go to war, they're still young, and I think like the upper register and the piano really provides that sense too. Yeah, I like that though. Really, 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 really beautiful, and very somber. Scales of the Goddess. Okay, so this is after the exploration. A new year is here. Now it's time to get back into the routine again. You might like this piece. Let's see. Scales of the Goddess. So yeah, what's cool to me about this particular version, I'm probably with the green ones, I'll probably stop once or twice, and right around the middle, and really talk about it and think about the piece. But one of the things that I find really interesting about it is that, yeah, well, right. So the children have all grown up, and now like it takes on the same. It's interesting. It's almost like the monastery piece becomes distant. The monastery piece is still present, but it's not so directly in your face. You know what I mean? Like there's a quality in it of there's distance in it, right? It's the same but different, and by that I mean it's like it's placed differently in the note structure. Or not in the note structure, sorry. In like there's some syncopation. The strong beats are now on weak beats. It feels like it starts earlier in the measure even. Just some things that kind of stuck out to me, and then also interestingly enough, I felt like, how do I put this in the words? It feels like broken. There's a list. I like saying this word, listlessness. There's an inherent feeling of like, man, some stuff went down and we're back. And like, but like, it's like still a peaceful place because the soprano comes in, it's like in the upper register. So there's a little bit of peace in that, but then still on the other side of things, excuse me, there's still this feeling of like, change. And even though the place is a place that you know very well, it's different, totally different. You know what I mean? There's also like a sense of agitation in it. I think, especially in the first like 30 seconds or so. 125. Let me just. Yeah, and I say that because of the movement. So you have the chill part, so you have that, and then you also have the organ, and there's a little bit of like movement to the point where you can't quite pin down what the hell is happening. Like it just doesn't feel super comfy, even though it's not doing anything crazy, but there's such a like a momentum and sort of a back and forth with some of the instruments on the underneath of the motif that it feels like it's a little unfeathered, or like the reins have been taken off, like the leash is off the dog, so to speak. You know what I mean? But it's still pretty, isn't it? But the organ is almost never good in video games. I mean, like, and here there's some tension and some sustaining, and then a key shift. A bit ethereal, like as if witnessing something special, but this particular organ has a quality of like, it's both still and action focused. Isn't it interesting? Also, I mean, realistically, the instrument choices and the way that it sounds, there's a bit of like a cavernous quality to it, which is also really interesting, isn't it? There's a quality of almost like the place is broken down, and like there's dripping of water, and it feels more domey in its space rather than like a place where people live. You know what I mean? All right, Garrickmach Cathedral plays in the church. Vocals and organ play throughout the piece. I have some context. I did the. Oops. I have some context since I played the Blue Lions path, but I don't remember very much of it. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely done with the VSTs and with a DAW. So, I mean, I think it loses some of the immediacy of the piece. I think like real instruments at the end of the day, like I'm not like a purist or I don't think that like one thing is better than the other, but I do believe that whenever you can get like that live sound, I think it sort of elevates this ever so slightly. I don't have a problem with the VSTs, and I think that they sound good. But yeah, I mean, the comment about it not sounding like a real organ and kind of you can tell in the lows, it's definitely true. I do like the vocals in that as a lot. It's very got that very like, ethereal, churchy thing that we really look for, huh? Like it does feel like we're go lay down. You know, the etherealness of like the soprano singing in the church is always beautiful, and I think that's what draws people to the church in a lot of ways, the music and the sort of the religious traditions. Yeah. I find that really interesting. People of the marketplace plays near the merchants and blacksmiths on the monastery. I remember these guys. You hear the blacksmithing. I like the syncopated. Oops, I like the syncopated piano a lot. Yeah, you can really hear the blacksmithing of that. You know, especially with the big timpani parts and stuff, and the playful stuff of the the tambourine as well. Totally. Yeah, it does have a Rabbinaster of Final Fantasy 12. I mean, I think because it's busy. You know, it's a bustling area. Artanelico's fine. It's definitely not my speed per se, but there's some tracks that are really outstanding. I really like what's her name? Ashikato. I can't remember. Her singing is amazing. I think that sometimes they veer on like too experimental, and I think that that's definitely like a block for some people. But also, it's unfortunate that the games never really left their like small target audience because they're actually really beautiful. But I've heard quite a bit of Artanelico. I think it's very pretty. I really do. As Swift as Wind. Also don't mind that it's experimental, if that makes sense. As Swift as Wind plays when viewing the map before a battle. Early chapters, and then subsequently As Fierce as Fire is after a battle, after the time skip. Heavy strings. Low tone chords at the start, brass instruments come in. Love this piece in the game. Cool. We'll listen to both back to back. Yeah, the D&B stuff is really nice, isn't it? I mean, like, I love that sort of forward step in the piece, and it really does feel like, especially with the heavy hits of some of the chords, it really does give you the Ace Combat vibe. I saw some of you joking in the chat, and it's absolutely true. I mean, it's also like a beautiful way of reinterpreting this theme, where it feels like it's an action-focused piece of music, where we're actively preparing, we're actively moving forward. I think the piano section in the middle is really where I'm like most appealed to, like that most appealed to me, because it still has elegance despite the fact that we're in a sense of conflict, which is cool. I do love the forward momentum in this piece, and I do love the feeling of like, you know, sort of like prepping, but prepping with conviction, if that makes sense. Like there's it's just got, I really like the short strings as well. Like just the accentation in it is really motivating, and it feels like anything's possible, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And also it's probably a little bright, and I wonder if the sort of, I guess, I don't know if it's drum and bass really, but I mean, it has that quality. It feels like a sonic piece too. You know, it feels very bright, it feels very like spirited, feels very focused, feels very like ready to go. You know what I mean? But I'm curious to hear what the second one sounds like, which is post time skip, especially, actually, because it'll be interesting to hear them side by side. Couldn't be more different. But yeah, I mean, like you hear the desperation right away, right? Like that's like, you know, the stakes are way higher in the time skip. There's so much agony in that. There's so much stress. There's so much like, holy crap, we gotta take care of this, right? There's an instant sense of like, we have a responsibility. We have to take ownership of ourselves. We have to take care of this right now. You know what I mean? It's also a bit slow. Well, it's actually not slower, but things are, I love the lower piano too. It's very heavy. Doubling. Yeah, I mean, that's like a classic bum bum pia bum bum pia bum bum pia ba 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 da. I really like how sort of long certain sections are. So we never lose sight of that momentum, right? But at the same time, there's a bit of stretching there, which is kind of cool, and a bit of extending. So there's almost like there's like questioning or like, what are we gonna do? You know, especially this part. Then it's like, well, what are we gonna do? We have to hit. We have to take action. We have to move forward. You know what I mean? Right there. Yeah, and then ending up like that, that's really inviting, like, you know, the possibility of victory. That's like saying, like, okay, no matter what happens, we're going to be all right. We're going to be victorious. Maybe. There's still a little bit of a question, right? All right, the dream is over. Oh, that's pretty. Hold on, before I wanted to read the notes. So that's the Allied Death theme. Sounds like you weren't able to complete a task and now have to reflect on what to do next. Yeah, that really comes across there. Yeah, it feels. I actually much prefer that over the. Which one was it? Over Broken Routine. It's just so beautiful, and I love the strings in that as well. It's really, really bleak. A Star in the Morning Sky, Statistics and Epilogues theme. Do stop and start 2 times in this piece. Well, okay, okay. And then The Color of Sunrise, Crimson Flower credits theme, piano at the start and plays throughout the music piece. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, arguably for me, this is definitely probably the best theme in the whole soundtrack. Like if I were to listen to the whole thing from top to bottom, this would always be a standout. And I think the reason is that there's so much beauty in adversity. Like that's the sort of theming, you know, like it feels like, man, there's clearly a battle going on, and yet we have this incredibly elegant it sounds like a cello, right? And the cello is just like pouring itself out, and it's saying like, hey, like things are terrible, but we can still be victorious. We can still win. We can still follow the path to righteousness, to success. And then on top of that, you get that Fire Emblem theme, I'm pretty sure. And that just like really just feels like victory, doesn't it? But it feels like I don't know. I think also it's in the, hold on one second. It's in the upper strings, I believe. Yeah, and it's just like, you know, oh no, that's the Break of Dawn or whatever that motif is. And that too, that feels like calling back to something. It's like remember when you said this, and like, Are you holding up your end? It's like asking a question. Are you holding up your end of the bargain? Are you willingly, like, are you following us? Are you believing in the path that you've chosen? There's almost a bit of like, I don't know, like possibility, and like the renewal of hope, or a doubling down on like choices. You know what I mean? It's cool. Edge of Dawn, yeah. Oh, that's Fola wins. Man, that's so gorgeous. I didn't want to stop there because it's so beautiful, especially when that Fire Emblem theme comes back in. I mean, I think ultimately what it really comes down to, isn't it, is that the idea that this piece of music, this is definitely my favorite of the entire soundtrack, I'm not going to lie. And I think the reason why it works so well, especially in the back half of this piece, like I talked about the first half, but the back half here really feels so triumphant. And it feels kind of like this is what it's all about, right? Like this is the core tenets of why Fire Emblem is so important, right? Why these stories are so important, why these stories carry so much weight. It's not so much about these three, and I think to me it feels like, it's, as an outsider, it feels like this is about all of these young characters and all the Fire Emblems, right? And what it means to grow, and what it means to become aware of oneself, and maturity and essence, and like the especially with the way that the horns kind of guide us there. Like there's a sense of like, hey, like this is all about growing up and like doing the right thing, and learning who you are. And that's ultimately, I think, more so than the battles and all that other stuff. Like that's the thing that comes across to me, is it's like, no matter what the path is, the path ultimately leads to self-awareness and discovery, right? And I think like that's the thing that kind of catches me, and why this piece feels so mature. It's almost like, you know, we've grown up, we've started our lives. This is the reality of what life is like, and you know, no matter what choice, as long as you make the choice that's right for you, like that's how you grow and become the best version. And I think that that's what stands out to me the most. And that was definitely probably, yeah, I would say my favorite track in the whole of the soundtrack, to be honest. I really thought it was very beautiful. Okay, and then this is the credits theme. Piano at the start and plays throughout the music piece. Color of Sunrise. It's interesting to me that the tempo is quite fast. I mean, it's obviously very, very reflective, especially the way it starts. I personally wish it was a little bit more languid, a little bit slower. But also, it's interesting because at the tempo that it's at, with the rhythmic gestures that it's at, it does provide us with a sense of like laying one sword down, right? Like it's not morose, is it? It's not really like sad. It's more just like reflective and contemplative, and it's like okay, job well done. All right, I did it, and I set my sword down and I begin my new life, or whatever. Like it doesn't feel so tragic, if that makes sense. Partly because of the tempo, right? The tempo doesn't make it tragic. It's different. I love the ostinato in the upper right hand. It really feels like twinkling sun as the color of sunrise. It really feels like the sun is rising on a new day, you know. I also find it interesting how it repeats. The flute doubling is very pretty too. It feels like atonement. Like absolvement, like a fresh start, you know? Well, that's what a sunrise is, right? Every day's a new beginning. And so to me, that piece really feels like, you know, hey, some real fucked up shit happened, but at the same time, like, you know, we have a chance to start anew and begin a new perspective on life. And I think like it's almost like Edelgard gets that opportunity to shed that baggage or whatever responsibility she was almost forced or coerced into because of what she felt. It's very pretty. Very, 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 very pretty. Okay, let's do Seiros kills Nemesis cutscene theme. Revenge. Thanks. Let's see, Revenge. Same notes play at the start, followed by brass instruments later on. So brutal. That whole thing is so... Is that it? Wait. Oops, sorry. This is the way it's edited. Someone forgot to... Yeah, I like the viciousness laden throughout that entire piece. Apparently there was a God-shattering star motif, but I totally missed it. I think it's such a brutal piece, isn't it? And it has this... I think that the ending is actually my favorite part, because the ending is like ramifications of actions. You know what I mean? It's cool. Have I... I have it. I've played the first little bit of... I've played the first little bit of Unicorn Overlord. I like it. I should keep playing it. The Archbishop, music piece with the context. Share thoughts when you finish watching it. What if I have no thoughts? No thoughts, empty
This will
head.
be your first time at the monastery. I'd be happy to show you around.
It really is Fodlan in a nutshell. The good and the bad.
Like it or not, we'll be there soon enough. There it is. Garrick Mock Monastery.
Classic. What a practical outfit.
Ray is here.
I wonder, did the flow of time bring you here?
Doesn't the green-haired person die? I can't remember. Also, isn't that her uncle? Can't remember. Again, there's like the hustle and bustle there is really apparent. I think it's pretty when you like look out and you can see the when you first like catch eyes at the monastery, it's really pretty, right? And you feel like, oh, it's that place of arrival. A. And then B, with the chorus, with the soprano and the church, that's like hey, it's a monastery. You know what I mean? The Officers' Academy. Waltz. This is being studious music. Responsibility, learning, hanging out, doing stuff. This is busy music. A little dreamy, of course. So sweaty. Yeah, that's just like your fighting montage, but more cute. The night of the ball. This is going to be a waltz. Classic elegance. In that moment, it felt kind of like Edelgard and Dimitri had some sort of a relationship, and the waltz there really symbolized possibility and romantic possibility at that. Fated death. When one of your characters couldn't protect themselves, and now a life has ended. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, no. Cutscene theme. Wait, no. Yes. Yeah, I really like the back half. Obviously, the first half is when something tragic happens, and then the back half is when the actual like mourning and the sound of sadness comes in, which I really like. It's really pretty, really pretty. I mean, obviously sad, but pretty. Awakening, music piece with the context.
Your will and mine are now as one. Both sides of time are revealed to you, and you alone.
Oh wait, that's Sothis.
You know I am the beginning.
That's right.
What shall you do?
Yeah, the metaphysical in that is really cool, especially with the edgy sound, the sort of distortions. I remember this scene. This scene's cool. I like scenes like this in most of these games. This, or like when they say Persona and Joker, or like the Personas awaken, like all this sort of stuff is always cool. Yeah, this scene's awesome. He didn't say Persona.
So the Fellstar consumes even the darkness itself.
Yeah, that part's awesome, because doesn't Byleth die there, and then he merges with Sothis, or they merge with Sothis, and then they cut the, I can't remember exactly, but I love that. I mean, like, obviously it's just like super epic and awesome, and such a great arrival moment, I think, too. Like, it's like the new beginning, if you will. Really like that piece. Descant, subtle vocals towards the end of the piece. Oh, yeeted. Yeeted into the void, my bad. Yeah, that's like crazy. I mean, it's just a descent into madness, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, it says descent, but really, it feels like it's like a merging of two forms, or releasing oneself into like the true nature of the character. You know, there's an inherent violence in that piece that's really powerful. It's cool. Okay, rematch. Facing your opponent for round 2. This must be after this whole Sothis business. Yeah, the lower piano is always effective. Always effective. I really like this piece too. The tension in the tremolos is really fun. And then the upper register piano playing that medley, again, it's like a super bleak quality, more like holy shit. You know what I mean? That's really musical holy shit, if you will. I think. It's like, what? Oh my god. You know what I mean? Javelins of Light. Motif carried by the strings following the drums. So random. I like that though. See, that's EDM done well, especially mixed in with classical elements, if you will. No. See, that could be like 3 minutes longer. Oh wait. Yeah. Back half is whatever. Front half is amazing. Okay, the curse. There's a building up for the bass drop. Okay. I like the vocals there a lot. Sounds like that Gladiator song. No, hello, shallow. I like pretty much anything to do with the Garthans. Garthans? I really like. It's like they're usually composed really well too. Yeah, it's cool. All right, let's do. Oh, this is a variation. Okay. Slightly different? Sure. I like that track. It's so interesting that there's a variation on the curse. I like that track, but I still prefer the previous one. It's just it's amazing how I really like the Garth and stuff. I don't know why I like it so much. All right, Citizens of the East, cutscene theme, end screen theme. Ooh, racing to get the final kill. Okay. Wait, that's the end credits? Oh, end screen, like if you died? All right, A World for Humanity, Crimson Flower, final cutscene theme, Black Eagles Route. Didn't we listen to this? Wait. Oh, that's pretty. So yeah, so this makes sense. Again, because of the fact that we have the sound quality of like Hope Renewed, that's why we have this fast tempo. Also, A World for Humanity is interesting. So it really does feel like no matter what atrocity occurred, there's still a sense of peace in a way. I love that. I love the intensity. So that's that Edge of Dawn motif. And it's actually amazing because this is the moment where we get the sense that like no matter what's happened, kind of like I mentioned earlier, now there's a big shift, and it's almost like the resolution is a positive one, right? And I love how fast it is, and I think like that fast tempo indicates to us that like we have broken free of chains, right? Or broken free of like some sort of burdenous responsibility. I really appreciate well, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, either way, like that's what it sounds like. There's like a momentum in it that signifies like success, but it doesn't sound like really messed up success or like screwed up success. Like it really feels like this is like a genuine, like, holy shit, like I can't believe we did it. We're free, you know what I mean? No, never mind. I take it back. Take it back. Never mind. Everything went to shit. This is a bad thing. Oh. You get a little bit of it right there too, ever so slight. The twinkling is really cool because this is the new beginning, right? It's like the map clears and suddenly you're in a place of a new landscape, or like a new horizon, a new beginning. Oh, it is called A World for Humanity, so that kind of makes sense. But then a new dawn, verdant wind final cutscene, Golden Deer Route final chapter. Also, Hydro, I dropped you a message in Discord in the patron chat. Oh, I've heard a New Dawn. Yeah, I like this song. I swear this motif is starting to kill me. I've heard it. Every single track has this motif. I love how like gumption, how much gumption there is in this track. Like again, the beginning here is heavy like drama, right? But I really appreciate that the motif really maintains the idea that it's these students at the core of this conflict. You know what I mean? The problem is that it's so damn catchy. You know what I mean? It just I love that over top of this we have this in the upper strings, but underneath we have this constant forward momentum that is bassy and percussion laden, and that really sends home the idea of a power struggle, right? Yeah, and there it's interesting. I actually love that Fodlan wins thing, because there again, it's a power struggle, and there you feel the clash in it, don't you? I mean, it's like a really satisfying way to produce that sound. Right there is when we feel like a real sense of drive, and because it's in the trumpets, which it is frequently, there is this heroic battle struggle about it that's really satisfying. Oh, there's a shift because of the... And then after all that, it's like, we did it! Can you believe it? It's amazing how the strings really guide us in this feeling of, gorgeous trumpets, celebration, but at what loss, you know? What did we lose? But everything is better, you know? I love how music can create that. I mean, even there, you feel like, holy, we just did this huge fight. Everything is over. We've done it. We're victorious. We've won. But yet there's still like a slight twinge of like, damn, you know, we lost so much for it. You know what I mean? Song of the Nabateans. Love the vocal. Rhea, that isn't Rhea the Rhea is the green-haired not so this person.
In time's flow, see the glow of flames ever burning bright. On the swift river's drift, broken memories alive.
I like how raw that is. It's almost like her voice is like morphed into like 30. Yeah, you know, oops. What I think is really pretty about that is it starts off in vocally like that's an untrained singer, right? So vocally there's a natural rawness to that quality right? That's what I just said. The quality of it is pretty raw is what I'm trying to say. There's something special about somebody that isn't vocally trained to produce like a sound. Now, I think one of the inherent problems with like really learned singing or like really good technique is that it tends to sound overproduced. Now it's overproduced for a specific reason, but when a piece is sung like that, the quality in it is imperfect and it's like blatantly imperfect. And so someone could sit here and be like, well, it's not really good singing because it's not this, that, or the other, right? But the reality is that it is good singing because singing comes from the body, and singing is one of these things where you can hone it, you can train it, you can do all the stuff that you can do with any other instrument or whatever. And like, you can make it perfect. You can make it sound ideal. You can make it, but ideal for what? For, you know, like, so there's a lot of things that go into it, but when it's untrained or limitedly trained, watch her be like a professional, like pop artist or something. There's a rawness that comes through in that, and a natural quality in it that sort of cuts through the veneer of perfection or cuts through the veneer of technique and makes it almost more desirable for us to connect with. And that's why that piece is actually like very pretty, because it's captivating because it's not perfect, right? It's captivating because it sounds kind of at times like unpolished. The rawness is the vulnerability, and that's really what works so well about it. Silver Snow final cutscene theme. Walking. A slow and steady tempo with piano motif. Wow, that's super pretty. I actually think that that's one of the more beautiful. That's one of the more beautiful tracks in the. I really like that. I really like that. I thought that was so elegant and so sublime. It's really beautiful. I really appreciated that piece very much. Azure Moon final cutscene, light and shadow. Strings carry the motif in this one. Sort of abrupt. Oops. Ooh, I want to hear that. That's sort of abrupt, isn't it? Sort of interesting how like you don't need 2 minutes to like tell a story musically. You know what I mean? You can do it really efficiently with just a couple seconds. I actually want to do a video where I want to do a video where I listen to where I create or review like the shortest songs that exist in video games, and some of these are a minute. You know what I mean? I mean, short songs are a minute typically, and that's really like sometimes you can get a really interesting loop out of a piece even in 30 seconds. But it's interesting how like pieces sort of just like I don't know. You can tell a whole lot without a ton. Wait, is this the next track? Sorry, I just want to make sure. Yeah, Prelude of the Nabatians. Oh, so Ray and Sothis are both Nabatians. Vocals can easily be heard in this piece. Wow, that's pretty. Again, but that's another prime example of like when you have something and you like just that's a cappella. There's no vibrato. It's straight toned. It's incredibly evocative, isn't it? I mean, it really is like sort of like almost shocking, isn't it? I mean, like because there's no like vibrato. It's not overproduced. It's just a couple notes, really. Like, do you feel how like naturally like powerful that is? Like, but like powerful in like the most like subtle, pulled back kind of way. I really like that. I mean, I really feel like that's when singing is actually at its most interesting. When it's not overproduced, when it's not over like technified, like it's just raw. You know what I mean? It's really, really elegant and really evocative too. All right, Madness. More dramatic and action-packed moments. It's powerful and intense. Peace, driving you to know what will happen next. Oh. If there's time, we can, but I don't know. We'll have time. Wow. Oh yeah. Yeah, that could be interesting. Yeah, I love that. I love the like the way the delivering terror and delivering like loss or rage or like losing oneself a little bit. The way that we do it in music is always like this, right? Like because it kind of has to be. You can't just do it in a different way. You can't just like you can't do like florid beautiful strings or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it has to be it has to be like, it can't be elegant. It has to be like that. What's that, Jolly? Is that in this? Is that in Three Houses? We've listened to the entire soundtrack, so surely I've done it if it's in this. Okay, final chapter of the Verdant Wind Route. God-shattering star. It's a pivotal moment of the game, adding to the intensity and the emotion of the climax. Oh. Literally, it's the intro to God-shattering star. I do love the space in this, don't you? Don't you? It's interesting how there's... What is that? I don't know what that is then. It's amazing, the space. I think the space is what's more powerful. So the space and then the sharp beats. That's really what sends that home. Pa, pa, ch, pa, pa. Oh, it's from a different Fire Emblem game. All right, and then, of course, the Edge of Dawn. I've actually done a pretty extensive video on Edge of Dawn not too long ago, actually. It might be worth exploring that. But we'll take a listen. Yeah, let's take a listen to this. I'll stop and start if something comes to mind that I haven't mentioned previously. But it's a beautiful piece. Actually, this is the only time that the Edge of Dawn has lyrics? Is this the lyrical one? I think it is.
Reach for my hand, I'll soar away.
Oh, yeah, this is different than the one I heard. Slightly. This is like an acoustic version. Oh, it's the EDM version.
in this beloved
It's interesting how
place.
she's basically singing a cappella,
Silver
even though
shines, the world dines, a smile
there's like
on
chord,
its
chord,
face.
chord, but the space where she sings
As I
syllable-wise
surround,
is
bounce,
open.
and I can feel I'm breaking free. For just this moment lost in time, I am finally me. Yet still I hide behind this mask that I have become. My blackened heart, scorched by flames of force I can't run from. As I live out each peaceful day, deep in my soul, oh, I know I can stay. So I wish I could hide away, hold tight to what I love, keep cruel fate at bay.
I really like this singing voice. See, this is... I'll stop one time and just say that, like, I feel like what I like about this is that this is ever so slightly polished. Like, there's a little bit of singing in this that's much cleaner, and I think like that's the benefit of like some training or at least like a different context, right? Or like a different style of singing, because it could, for all we know, and I don't think it is, it could be the same singer as the the Sothis theme, or the Rhea theme, which it's not, I don't think, but all that to say, like, it's incredible how you can hear like just a little bit of vocal like technique, how far that can go, you know, especially with a beautiful pop voice. Not everybody's destined to sing pop, by the way. Like, I suck at singing pop. Like, I can sing a little ballad, but pop and I are not friends. Like, I don't sound good because I naturally, like, my voice just naturally lends itself to a specific style of singing. And I also never really, because I started taking singing lessons so early on in my sort of, I was 16 when I started taking singing lessons. So figure, God, that's like, oh my God, that's like 20 years. Woo. What the fuck? Yeah, that's 21 years. Oh my God, that's 21 years ago. Whoa. Okay. All that to say, I never really learned how to sing pop or belt. Now you can teach that stuff, but like, it's incredible how like this slightly belty pop sound and the natural quality of this person's voice feels really good. Yes, I've listened to several Project Moon, mostly on Patreon live streams.
As the rain falls on the path, I chase your shadow. I don't feel a single drop or the ground below.
I think also this translates to a really good vocal song too.
And I stop before I know. And the lie upon my lips, I let it go. Cross my heart, making vows I know will be betrayed. A sad girl's dreams live only for a breath and then they fade. Don't ever take back your kind hand. Less precious love slip away like time said.
Man, that's gorgeous.
Only we will know all that was lost. Scars that we can't erase. Show us life's true cost. The blue moonlight cuts across our sight as pure and clear as a ringing bell. Reaching for us in the night as the wind comes by thoughts. I hold strong on this terrace. I feel at peace, carried away by the wind song. Open the door and walk away. Never give in to the call of yesterday. Memories that made those days sublime. These ruined halls and tombs stolen time. Reach for my
I like that. I like that a lot. You know, honestly, I like that. But what was the one I did? Oops, hold on, I'm gonna finish it out. What was the one I did? I actually liked that. What the fuck is this shit? Exciting new features to YouTube. Okay, anyway. What was it? God, you know, thinking of, I can imagine pre-playing a game for 146 hours for a review. That would really upset me. Ooh, oh, it was Lady of Freysvelg. Oh, okay. Never mind. Different. I much prefer this version. Much prefer. This one has brighter, more happy. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. Okay, so now we're going to sound effects because we're being thorough. There's your bell. Should I play it on loop? The level up sound. I love that you included these Hydro, by the way. Item obtained. I like that level up sound. Don't you notice that level up sounds absolutely can ruin your day if they last too long? So it's nice that like that level up sound is very quick and easy, huh? That sounds kind of sad. When a character changes classes and stats change. This is the I like how it doesn't resolve. When a weapon has no more uses and it breaks, the sad sound. Terrific. Listen, good SFX are important. All right, next up is we're going into the DLC now. And let's see. DLC Corridors of the Tempest, Rain. Paralogue music. It's like stepping into a world where every raindrop carries a memory. Wow. The melody has this haunting elegance, mixing gentle piano notes with soft strings. I like the description a lot. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I like the back and forth of the trumpets especially. It's a very vibrant piece, isn't it? I could see a haunting elegance. And there's a really nice reset there too musically. It's nice. That trumpet motif is really amazing, isn't it? And then the strings take over. It's such a cool way to mix and match. Yeah, it's definitely the type of thing I'd like to hear live. Even there, the way it's syncopated, where the Oh, Mori, no. Not yet. It is interesting because it's like sad, but also optimistic at the same time. It's really fascinating. I mean, actually, honestly, the description, stepping into a world where every raindrop carries a memory. I mean, that's like a pretty like heavy thought, like a heavy idea, but it's actually fair. I do think that that's the way that feels, doesn't it? The melody has this haunting elegance. Absolutely. So Corridors of the Tempest Thunder, I'm really intrigued by. Let's listen. Okay, more galvanized. Yeah, it's 1 minute. It kind of, you know, this particular track, it gets a little muddled by the intensity of the like hits, the like snap percussion or whatever you want to call it. I know why it plays and where it sounds like this for. But the Rain version is so nice. Like this just feels like it's like punching my earlobes a little bit. It actually like, yeah, I'm not crazy about that one. That actually muddles itself together to the point that like you can't hear. It's interesting to listen to the rain and thunder back to back, and I think it's actually the commentary in the chat is I think right. There's a feeling in here where obviously it's part of a battle, right? But the rain version has such a wonderful and empowering and like beautiful melody that actually having this be so dominant in the like percussion actually robs it of like the parts that make it really beautiful. It almost feels like it's like sort of unbalanced, right? Where it caters to the percussion of it and the like sort of strong rhythmic pulse to the point that you lose the rain qualities in the thunder quality, where it should, you know, ideally it would be balanced a little bit differently. It's not to say it's a bad track. Obviously, it still gets you riled up. It gets you pumped up. It gets you energetic, what have you. But I do think that the rain version is gorgeous, and for good reason. You know what I mean? Like it's just really, really pretty. What's steam bath respite? Sitting in the sauna with your fellow students and I would not want to sit in a sauna with my professors. Not with this playing in the background. It's interesting how it sounds like bass clarinet. Also I like that little it's so strange, man. It's peaceful. The drone is really interesting. The plucking too is also very like sort of awkward. There's an awkwardness about it. I also think like the male drone there, oh, it's almost like hey everybody. Cindered Shadows, introductory cutscene music, heavy strings at the start with vocals. Yeah, the harp and the strings are really ethereal, and then of course you add the vocals over top, and it's always gonna be like super angelic. That has a mysterious quality to it, which is really cool. But of course, it's explaining the legend of the chalice and whatever that means, right? So like, there's sort of like implicit mystery in it that's really interesting to listen to. It feels very like, well, you know what it feels like. It feels like distance. It feels like stumbling upon something ancient. It feels like reflecting on a relic and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Abyss exploration theme. Sounds like venturing inside a dungeon of some sort. The Forgotten. Oops, same thing. Sorry. Oh, see, this is cool. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I really like that theme, actually. That's really fun. I'm gonna star that. Again, that's just like, again, another piece that just like it is a mood, isn't it? And it's peaceful, but it also has forward momentum. I also just really like the acoustic sound in it. I like how I just love the guitar in it. It's just such a satisfying sound, isn't it? The rhythm is fun. The forward momentum is fun. The guitar gives it like this organic, lived-in feel to it. It's just a really... There is an explorative element to it, but it's also very like, I don't know. There's like got a peaceful energy to it. You know what I mean? Do I tend to play the games the music comes from, or just appreciate the soundtrack? The soundtrack. Admittedly, I'm not crazy about the style of game that Fire Emblem is. Although I am planning on playing. I started playing Fire Emblem Awakening on my 3DS, and frankly, I think I like it much more than I liked Three Houses. I played all of Blue Lions, and it didn't really do it for me at that point in my life. I don't know if it would now, but Awakening is very good. And I'm also like, I'm more into strategy style games now, or whatever this genre is. I mean, and when I say I've started it, I mean, I'll probably like play it for like all year and maybe finish it. It's how I tend to play, but the characters are very compelling in that game. yeah, I tend to, it's very hard for me to, I try to separate what I listen to on the channel and what I like play at home, so that I'm not just like constantly hearing like music that I like. Yeah, I try to separate work and leisure, since I do both and they both involve video games. You know what I mean? It's a little bit problematic, but it's also wonderful because it's a great job. And I love it. But yeah, I definitely try to balance it. Like, for instance, if I'll listen to something amazing, I may listen to the soundtrack a lot. And if it's like really good, then it'll compel me to play. I will say I've purchased a lot of games based on their music. Like, I would say the last like probably 50 purchases I've made have been because of their music. But usually when I'm home, I will play like Guild Wars 2. Like, that's my like leisure game, you know, like an MMO or something. Yeah. Oh, this is cool. Again, there's a lot of syncopation in this, but it's such a useful device. There's a little bit of those motifs again. It does have the Ace Combat vibes again. Love the trumpet. Yeah, the bass is cool. I appreciate that it's both, it's kind of still, but yet it still has a melodic direction, don't you think? It's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I love that. You know what's interesting is that it's, on the one hand, it's kind of background music, but on the other hand, which is fine, like it has a bit of an ambient quality to it because there's not a real like motivic essence in it, but at the same time, it's Yeah, it's really dope. The Shackled Wolves map theme for Singered Shadows. Intense theme going on here. Let's listen. Yeah, that's cool. See, let me just pause really quickly. I just want to pause really quickly and say, like, this to me is really well balanced because you have rhythm, you have forward momentum, you have an intense like underpinning of bassy sort of, you've got the percussion, you've got the drum set, whatever, the snare. Then you also have the whatever instrumentation, and then on top of that, you have a really well balanced upper motif, which I think again is trumpets. Yeah. See, that's so wonderfully beautiful. Dum, da, dum, 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 dum. Yeah, that's lovely, isn't it? Thread a harpsichord in the background. That's really cool. Yeah, I think that's something that some of these tracks have. The traps that some of these fall into is the fact the traps that some of these tracks fall into is the fact that they're like rhythmically explosive and extremely loud, and they don't necessarily have like a motivic or melodic backing to elevate them besides just being loudly moving. You know what I mean? And I think like a track like this, which I've never heard before, is lovely in the sense that it moves, has forward propulsion, but it also has a character. And I think like that to me really, that sticks out to me and stands out as a more interesting piece than a lot of the other ones that we've listened to, because of the fact that it's not just like nonstop sort of like hitting you in the face. Now, granted, also, what? The harpsichord melody from before is actually the main melody reversed, really? That's wild. I can't wait to hear the thunder version of this, because this already feels like a thunder, unless it's inverted and thunder is actually chill. It's possible. See that too? That's so cool. Da ya da 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 ya da da ya da 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 da. I have heard that. Oh, that's so pretty. There's that drum and bass again. That's so interesting. What a weird... Love the percussion in there. That rhythm is terrific. Man, it's a crazy note. There's like tons of syncopation. And that's a loop, and for the sake of time, I'll go over to the thunder version. Slightly change tone and chords for suited for combat. I don't know, that other one was suited for combat too. dum 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 dum. No, you're not crazy. You see what I mean? Like, I don't dislike this, but man, the Rain version is so good. Like, this just feels sort of like frenetic. Not only that, but then we have that thing where we're essentially like taking it almost feels like what we're doing is chopping it up so that it has this like, and it just is just noisy. I'm not vibing with it. We'll listen to a couple more minutes. It's just loud. Yeah, and that's just like a giant loop. It's okay. It's okay. I don't. Oh yeah. It just doesn't evolve the way I would want it to, and it's just like I think it probably works super well in game. I would never say it doesn't, right? But like in terms of our active listening purposes, I don't really think that piece really brings very much to the table, especially when you consider how good the previous Rain version was, you know? So I've heard At What Cost Rain. I don't think I've heard Thunder. Like the vocals and strings. Let's listen to it. Like the vocals and strings in this piece. Love the desperation in this. Hey, Senpai, what's up? Nope. That was Hydro. Hydro made the spreadsheet. Thanks for the raid. Appreciate it. Wow, very... The harpsichord here, too, is, like, so nice. Very frenetic, very chaotic. Yeah, Senpai, we're good. We're just vibing. I definitely love the mixture of, like, desperation and, like, focus and commitment to the goal, you know what I mean? A lot of this is very desperate, though. Hope you had a good stream. That's a loop, right? I do like this chorus. What I would say, I wish that I really want to hear something like this with a real chorus. I mean, I don't even know that like an organist could play this because it's actually crazy. But I love how desperate it feels, don't you? Like, I don't know about you, but it's so immensely like brutal, right? And it's brutal, but like in like an archaic, almost classical way, which I think is kind of slept on. But it's very, 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 very beautiful. And then just for the sake of it, let's listen to the Thunder theme. Drums played during the first few seconds of the piece. Yeah, you know, it's interesting in this little corner right here. We have this feeling of like wanting to navigate through like this brutal situation. And there's a little glimmer of hope, right? But because of the way that the percussion is, we can't really breathe. Like it's really an oppressive piece. And it's a piece that is really just, you know, it's impossible to, it really is like impossible to win. And yet maybe we do, maybe we don't, but like the quality in that is really like of just like, whoa, what the hell are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like it's incredible how I think poignant that is, even with the thunder portion of it, you know? Very heavy here. Right there, that motif is really nice. It's an interesting, the descending down trumpets is cool. It's kind of suspension thing here. Really lovely piano too. Yeah, amazingly, I mean, like really dense orchestrations and really like, it's interesting how the thunder elements really dial up the percussion in such a heavy way. Now, it's interesting to hear the rain theme and then move into the thunder theme, and you can like feel the dial up, right? And it's such a satisfying thing, even if it does muddle the melody. I don't think it's a negative thing. You know what I mean? Because dialing it up really enhances the experience. So it's like almost like when the rain theme and the thunder theme are very similar, I think what's cool about it is that the emotional gravitas of the situation is validly high, right? And that stays that way. It's just dialing it up just a little bit, you know what I mean? And dialing it up, it can still be a stressful situation, but dialing it up really takes it to the next notch, right? And that makes sense. And how do we do that? Well, we just like dial it. In this particular case, we just turn the knob on the drums. So before we go, I wanted to we're going to listen to one more song. And then I just wanted to say, you know, thank you to Hydro for essentially sponsoring this stream. Hydro was very generous with a patron donation. And Hydro worked this entire worksheet, and it took them 8 hours. Had to listen to all of them to make notes. And so, you know, thank you, Hydro. And Hydro was really excited to share this with the community and share it with all of you and obviously with me. So let's listen to Eternal Bond. That would be Tosca or Turandot. So Eternal Bond, these were the amiibo section, which we weren't able to get to, but we did do like 120 songs. So I think Hydro's happy. Let's check out Eternal Bond, reused from Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. You scan the Ike amiibo. Sounds like preparing for something. Someone is approaching. When you least expect it. And I hope the full OST helped you better understand the Fire Emblem franchise. It did. I'm actually really excited to check out what's it called? Awakening, actually. And also Hydro will be back sometime later this year for another OST listen. Oh, they play together and they switch based on... Oh, that's cool. It's almost piratey, isn't it? Dum, da, 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 dum, dum, da, dum, da, dum. It's so serious too. It's very heavy with the lower brass. Isn't that funny? You feel like the tension gets raised by the lower brass. Oops. Oh, shit. Yeah, I mean, Id Purpose is such an amazing track, so I'll send us off with this one. Like, this is a very good track. The fact that it pulls back all the way like this, it's got some really nice dynamic range in terms of its volume as well. It's not just one note. It's very varied. Even though it stays within the like structure of itself, it's really beautiful. And then we have like a proper like, you know, B section as well. But we don't lose sight of the accordion too, which is really cool. And this is so pointed and the sharpness in the sound is great. Well, we have the pretty elegant, like flowing, extended sopranos over top. So I love that it retains its identity with the accordion underneath. And then you have the descant on top, the upper sopranos. Fantastic stacking there. And then it shifts really smartly. It's cool. It's such a good track. And then it's a really nice gate ramp up into back to the original theme. And really, like, that loop would be so fun. I mean, it's just a great piece. And overall, like, I've really enjoyed this this discovery. I mean, literally, like, 100 and I think 30-ish tracks that we listened to. And it's quite dense. It's a lot to chew on, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. There was a lot to discover here, and while I don't think I'm going to be playing Three Houses anytime soon, what I can tell you is it's definitely opened the door further for me to walk into Fire Emblem Awakening, which I think is actually a big win for me personally anyway. So I'm actually really excited to start that on my own and explore it, because I think that, you know, this series, it's a really interesting history for the series, but also musically too. I think, like, it's amazing how it uses that motif so often. And while we may sit here and kind of be like, wow, it's just using this motif a lot, it's really actually masterful how it's integrated and how it's moved and shifted and used throughout the soundtrack. And that's something that's really hard to do. So, like, it's incredible in that regard. There were some real highlights for me. Some tracks that really stood out: A Star in the Morning Sky, A New Dawn, Wailing, I have them on the other sheet, but anyway, there's a lot of pieces in here. Obviously, God Shattering Star is still something I'm looking to cover. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. A lot of great stuff in the soundtrack. So anyway, thanks a ton, everybody. I've got piano lessons, so I have to go. I really appreciate it. Thanks a ton for being here. Tomorrow morning, I think 9:30 a.m., we go back into Castlevania Symphony of the Night. If that's interesting to you, feel free to come check that out while you're working or at your lunchtime or dinner time, whatever time zone you're in. Maybe Wednesday as well. If it's not Castlevania on Wednesday, then it will be me playing my least favorite game of all time, Crash Bandicoot 1. I'll be playing that for a couple hours on Wednesday. And then Friday, 5:30 a.m. for those of you on the East Coast, 5:30 a.m., which might be 11 o'clock for you in the European time zones. I'll be starting my experience with Monster Hunter Wilds, be streaming that also on Saturday, 9 to 1. And then 2 to 5 with Roger's Base. He'll be hanging out with me on the channel. And then I'll be streaming Monster Hunter Wilds all week next week, all day, 6 hours a day. So come hang out if you want to hang out. If you're not interested in Monster Hunter, well, you don't have to hang out, or you can hang out anyway. All right, everybody, take care. Thanks a ton. Thank you, Hydro, again, for supporting the channel and taking care of that and creating this, taking care of the list. I really